Alright, Bonehawks, this video is all about Injustice 2. We are back here on the channel, Injustice Tuesday, and I just wanted to put some Injustice 2 on your feed. How many times can I say Injustice 2 in the first 15 seconds of the video? That's gotta be some kind of record. This game has been out for 8 years now, and I've played it on and off. Typically, I kind of go back to it in between NRS games when one's kind of getting stale and, you know, we're kind of in between them. So that's kind of what I've been doing here. And yeah, today I just wanted to share the 5 things I think really makes this game shine above, especially above previous NRS games and the previous Injustice Gods Among Us. So that being said, let's get into it.
Accept your death.
Coming in at number 5 is the amount of defensive options that you have in this game. Zoning is pretty powerful in this game, not gonna lie. So having something like a meter burn roll can really help a lot of different characters out who can kind of traverse, have trouble moving around it and that kind of a thing. Everyone has a universal wake up attack that is meterless and has a little bit of invulnerability, usually kind of unsafe to a degree, but that depends on the character. Sometimes that's the character's thing, you know. And then everybody has a universal armored launcher with the meter burn forward or back 3. So just some of the game mechanics that they put in, just they allow you to really play like this cat and mouse kind of game, and you really have to be careful about things like gaps or overextending or just whiffing buttons. There's so many different ways to defend yourself and counter your opponent in this game, and that's truly how I like to play the game. You know, typically like to sit back and just read my opponent and just kind of outplay them and let them defeat themselves, essentially. Do something unsafe, and then I'm like, oh, shouldn't have done that, and just meter burn back 3 on the knockdown, go for my wake up torpedo or something like that, or, you know, just meter burn roll past their shenanigans that they just committed to and go for a full combo. So yeah, defensive options, I think that's really good for beginner players as well, because I feel like a lot of people can get a little turned off by how projectile heavy this game can be and how like spacing heavy it can be. So once they kind of understand the different options that they have and maybe some movements with their characters, it'll make the game a little bit more enjoyable for them. So I really like that kind of focus from NRS on this one. Next on the list at number 4 is the overall roster of this game. They did a great job improving over Injustice Gods Among Us. It is, like I've talked about this before, that they're kind of like stuck to, you know, the Justice League has to be in there in some extent, but kind of extending that out to the different universes and bringing in new characters. And even if they weren't like Dr. Fate, I think he's in the story for like maybe 5 minutes, maybe, but you know, just giving him a spot in the game. And then on top of that, the DLC as well. Every character is just so well done. Black Manta, even Sub-Zero, the guest characters, Raiden, and the Turtles especially. What a freaking cool idea for a guest character in the Turtles. So overall, this roster is freaking phenomenal. And it'll be interesting if they do another they do another Injustice 3, how they're going to improve upon this one. And I guess that's where I want to ask y'all a question is, any characters here that you think should return in the next Injustice outside of kind of the obvious ones that I mentioned, or any ones that you're hoping to see? I know that there's some ones like Killer Croc, Penguin is a big one for me, Beast Boy. So let me know in the comments characters that you'd hope to see in a somewhat, hopefully, improved roster in Injustice 3. Number 3 is the customization of your character in this game. Having, you know, like 4 different body pieces and then kind of your own quote unquote like gear piece as well. And then you have your skins on top of that. And then having a whole new character as a skin for that is like, I think that's super cool. What I will say is that there is sometimes a little bit too much choice as far as the gear in here. And some of them just seems to be the exact same gear piece, just with a different name or a different level. So I get that the gear pieces will also affect things like you see here, strength and defense. Perhaps there are ways that you can do that without having us open a bajillion different loot boxes to try and get those. That is one thing I don't like, but the overall customization that really isn't that prevalent in NRS games after this is just super duper good, and I hope that they kind of improve upon that, and like I said, maybe make the actual gear pieces that you unlock a little less kind of samey and more kind of meaningful. I think that could be a little bit more fun, but maybe I'm out to lunch. Playing this game more on the competitive side, I don't really use the abilities as far as like the health buffs and all that kind of stuff. Those are disabled. So if you're someone out there that plays on a more casual level, maybe you have a different insight to this. Maybe you can offer an opinion that combats mine as far as my concerns in that go. But yeah, customization, top tier in this NRS game. This is number 2 is something that I didn't appreciate at the time that this game was like super active, but it's something that I certainly appreciate a lot more now, and that is the simple movesets. Just going in, having your basic attacks here, having your combo attacks here, and then having your special moves, and then your character power. It just feels like classic fighting game to me. And don't get me wrong, MK11 and MK1 have their own little things. Like obviously the cameo system had a little bit of a mixed review there, and MK11's variations were kind of different. But when I look back to Injustice is when I go back to this game and try to learn it, and it's just, okay, what are my strings? What are my specials? Let's put them together and let's have a good old fundamentally sound fighting game fight. You know, that's something that I didn't know that I would miss until after playing kind of a little bit crazier games in that aspect. So something, like I said, super simple. It's just a simple moveset, and I definitely appreciate that, and it's become one of the things that I look forward to coming back to learning characters and whatnot with in this game. And my absolute favorite thing about Injustice 2 is the balance of the game. Competitively, it doesn't feel like there's anything that's super duper crazy over the top. Having said that, I know I can already hear people typing away. No fighting game is without its top tiers and its bottom tiers and all that kind of stuff. But the middle tier in this game is quite huge and allows for some super cool matchups and super cool movesets and whatnot competitively. And then also, they found a way in the gear pieces to kind of buff your characters, and on a casual side, found some balance there as well, especially when you go to find like the legendary gear and all that kind of stuff. And just having different moves that you can only have in certain modes, you know. The way that they just attempted to balance everything for everyone between casual and competitive is super duper amazing. And I know it must not have been easy to do that, and probably spent a lot of time. And again, like I said, every fighting game, they always have their tiers. But I mean, this definitely feels, especially when you look at Injustice Gods Among Us, because that game was wild. And there's like 3 characters that could just beat anybody in the game super duper easily, and they didn't even get a turn to really play. You're just guessing the whole time. So coming from that balancing to this, which was just insanely good, insanely improved upon, that's what makes this game fun to come back to time after time after time and revisit it and learn new characters. I've still been messing around with Dr. Fate a little bit in this game and trying to learn it on leverless controller as well. And it's just easy. Like I said, all these things that I mentioned just make this game really easy to come back to and pick up again. Kind of like, oh yeah, okay, you know, like training wheels, you know, or something like that. Riding a bike, is that the term? It's like snowboarding in Ohio? Where do you guys snowboard? I don't know geography that well. Anyways, I'm getting off track here. So yes, the balance, super duper good. Again, especially as I don't know what in the name of Jared Leto's taint they were thinking when balancing Injustice Gods Among Us, the first one. They just released it like that, but you gotta give them credit. It was their first back-to-block game, so, you know, but what a huge improvement it was over Injustice 2. So that's it. Just wanted to bless your timeline with some Injustice 2 content, my 5 favorite things about Injustice 2. Let me know if yours differ, or if they're largely the same, or if you think I'm completely out of lunch to any of this. So, as usual, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, because it really helps me out, and subscribe if you haven't, because I make new videos almost every single day. Hashtag Bonehawks, all that stuff, and we'll see all you Bonehawks in the next video.
Accept your death.